Welcome to the Goodyear City Council meeting. We're excited to have you be a part of this important public process. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to address City Council on both non-agenda and agenda items. You must fill out a speaker request card in order to address the City Council. The agendas and speaker request cards are located in the back of the council chambers. Please drop your completed card in the tray next to the blank speaker cards. If the meeting has already begun, please hand it to the city employee at the back of the room. You may check the "I do not wish to speak" option on the card. This allows you to let council know your opinion without having to speak. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, please contact a staff member if you need any assistance. Public comment on a non-agenda item will take place during the citizen comment portion of the evening. These are items that don't appear on tonight's formal agenda. The city clerk will call your name when it's time for you to speak. At that time, please approach the podium and tell us your name for the record. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. The timer is on the screens visible from the podium. Note that you may also choose not to speak if other speakers before you have said what you wanted to say. Shouting, cheering, and loud noises will not be tolerated, and violators may be removed for disrupting the meeting. Goodyear City Council meetings stream live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and online at goodyearaz.gov. Follow the city's social media pages so you don't miss out on all that's happening in Goodyear. Thank you for coming to this meeting and being an active part of your city. And remember, it's a great time to be in Goodyear.
They said they can't hear it. Oh, there we go. Can everybody get a seat, please? We're getting ready to get started.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Got a few others moving. Okay. Like to call the regular meeting to order for August 26, 2024. Can everybody mark present? Everybody good? All right, thank you. City Clerk, everybody's here. See nobody missing. If you would, please join Councilmember Loretano in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we ask you for your blessings for this council as we begin a new session after our break. We ask you to bless those up here and let us make good decisions and wise decisions for our people. Dear Lord, we ask that you give special blessings to the newest members to the Goodyear family. Please bless the new police chief, and please give special blessings to our 2 newest council members as they embark on their journeys as members of the Goodyear family. Dear Lord, please give special blessings and take care of those that protect us here, those that protect us away and are away from their families. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We have one communication item tonight. Please help me welcome our new police chief, Brian Izzet, and welcome Darcy down to the floor. Come forward and swear in the new police chief, please.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
of the state of Arizona,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of Chief of Police
discharge the duties of Chief of Police
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
So we have one more oath to administer. The International Association of Chiefs of Police is the world's largest and most influential professional association for police leaders, and it is committed to advancing the safety of communities worldwide. They formalized the oath and recently revisited it to, in their words, punctuate the importance of treating all individuals with dignity and respect and ensuring the preservation of human life. This oath isn't just a recitation, it is a promise to the Goodyear community and to the police profession. Repeat after me. On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray
I will never betray
my integrity, my character,
my integrity, my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will treat all individuals
I will treat all individuals
with dignity and respect,
with dignity and respect,
and ensure that my actions
and ensure that my actions
are dedicated to ensuring
are dedicated to ensuring
the safety of my community
the safety of my community
and the preservation of human life.
and the preservation of human life.
I will always have
I will always have
the courage to hold
the courage to hold
myself and others accountable
myself and others accountable
for our actions.
for our actions.
I will always maintain
I will always maintain
the highest ethical standards
the highest ethical standards
and uphold the values
and uphold the values
of my community
of my community
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Congratulations.
Okay. Well, I'm completely humbled. Thank you so much for all of the support that fills this room. Every single person here has played a significant role in my life and for me getting to this moment at this time. I'd like to specifically thank City Manager Winnette Reed. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It truly is a dream come true, and I am so excited to serve this community. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for believing in me, and I specifically want to thank my family, although not all of them are here, but to my wife Autumn, thank you for being part of life's journey, and this has been such a roller coaster of a past week with us dropping off our oldest daughter Eva to college, but you've been my rock through the past almost 23 years, and thank you for always being there. Libby and Brian, thank you for your support. I know I've missed a lot doing this job, but you've always extended me grace, and Dad, you're the reason why I'm wearing this uniform. So thank you for being an amazing role model for me growing up, and showing me the way that a real police officer should be and should act. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic back over. Thank you again, and God bless you all.
Give him a hand. I'll tell you what, let me start down at this end and we'll work it all the way around. Go ahead, council member.
Yeah, I want to say welcome to the city of Goodyear. So we're so excited to have you here in our city. We're looking forward to what you're going to do and how you're going to lead our world-class police force and take us to the next level and continue to keep our community safe and a place that people want to live. So thank you so much, and looking forward to helping, and any support that you need from us, we'd be more than happy to. So thank you.
Councilmember Campbell.
Congratulations. Oops, my mic's not on, of course. There we go. Congratulations, and we're really happy that you're here. you've got a challenge in front of you, and we've got a department that we need expertise in, and we wish you the very best. We're here to help you, but you have to let us know, and we appreciate you saying yes to come to Goodyear and be a part of our team.
Vice Mayor?
So in the lobby, I met Jeff from the Sunny Slope neighborhood, and I thought, you must be really impressed with Brian to drive all the way out here. And he spoke very, very highly of you. But I think that's just indicative of looking out and seeing friends and family, your colleagues, the trust, the faith that people have in you, listening to your, taking your oath about integrity. I know that that's a key thing to you. I know your faith is important, and we're just very happy that the timing was now for you to join us. You're going to help take us to the future and grow us up to be the department that we're meant to be. So thank you.
Councilmember Loretano?
I want to say thank you and welcome to our family, and welcome you to your family, to our family. We're all one family here, and I think we do work together. And I want you to look at us as your partners in how we can help you and assist you. We don't have expert in law enforcement. We're going to look to you to guide us and to make sure that we get it right. And I know there's a lot of people in this room that are very pleased that you're here. I am one of them, and I think we do a stupendous job as we grow. We're a small community when I came here, and we're growing with leaps and bounds, and I know your leadership will help us get to that next level and grow in a great way to keep our community and our city safe. So thank you and welcome to your family.
Councilmember Stipp?
So as you get down to the tail end here, there's a lot of thank yous, but somebody who I know that actually still works at Phoenix PD contacted me after we made the announcement with just stellar praise for I'd say our selection, but it's really Wynette's selection. So I think that in and of itself speaks volumes. It has been an interesting watch over the decades of how the Goodyear Police Department has changed since 2001 and under all of the different leadership that we've seen. And I think you're the right fit at the right time for the organization. We've had some really great chiefs in the past, Chief Rodriguez retiring and opening the door for leadership. And to the men and women of the Goodyear Police Department, change is painful, but change is good. And I'm excited about what you're going to do, both here as a council member and then in 3 months when I'm back to being a resident. I'm excited about that. So welcome to you, welcome to your family. We're just super, super excited. So thanks for joining us.
Councilmember Gillis?
Chief Issett and Autumn and Libby and Brian and Dad, I am so excited that you're all here. I just think Brian is the best. He's the right fit for this department. I think we have some of the best cops around in Goodyear, some of the best. And I think that they're going to be even the bestest once you get in there and you do what you need to do, if there's such a word. But I have that much belief in you. In talking to all your peers that are here is impressive enough when I look at all the officers from Phoenix and Surprise and a lot of the officers that came from Goodyear, our guys. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody from other areas, but they love you. They think you are the best. And I have no problem giving praise when somebody thinks you are the best. And I think you are the best, and I think you're exactly what we need for right now. And I thank God for you. I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be today. Thank you, and welcome.
You know, when you get up here and you're the last one up, it makes it kind of tough. We've already had our one-on-ones and met with you, and I do believe the city manager made a great choice. You're going to be an excellent here at the city of Goodyear. We're a growing city, so there's always going to be challenges, but welcome aboard. I really can't add to anything else that's been here, but you're going to be a great addition to the city of Goodyear. So with that, we're going to conduct some business afterwards, but instead of interrupting, if any of you want to kind of scoot out now, please do, because now's the chance you can do it before we start the other. So I'll give you some heads up on that, okay?
going to come Wednesday night. So we'll do whatever chicken dinner. So she'll come Wednesday night. She'll hang out by the pool on Thursday. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, you know, the funny thing is, the trash and treasure always has it. Yeah, and I'm like, there's so many good things, but we'll go. We'll go to oh, yeah, so she's, she's going to drive over there tomorrow.
There's only a few more, and we'll get started. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the city council on any non-agenda items within the jurisdiction of Goodyear. On any speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor.
What'd you have?
William Nepple?
Hello, William. Before you start, you don't have to give the address. Just say whether you're a Goodyear resident or not.
Yeah.
We can respond to criticism, request that staff investigate the report matter, request that the matter be scheduled on a future agenda. You got 3 minutes, and there's a timer that'll tell you when you
Okay.
get close to it. Okay?
Thank you.
Go
First
ahead.
of all, I just want to, this is the first meeting I've been to. It's just a great feeling to stand here and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Seems that I haven't done that since I was in school or a baseball game.
Right.
So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the prayer too, because that seems to be, nobody wants to do that anymore. So thank you for that. I'm trying to find out, I've been calling up the city and trying to leave messages, and I'm concerned about the fireworks system that the city, I don't know if it's just Goodyear or Maricopa County, but we've got fireworks. It's a dry state, and I've got neighbors that shoot rockets off. I've had damage done to my roof. And the other day when, you know, 4th of July, somebody threw a big, whatever it was, I got the piece of it, hit my window, and it scared the heck out of us. It sounded like like a gunshot. So my concern is why, if we can't, we're not supposed to shoot fireworks off in the city limits, yet every 4th of July, we've got tents all over the place selling fireworks, rockets, and everything. So I'm trying to understand that, and that's what I wanted to say. The other thing is the traffic on Cotton Lane. The other day, my wife and I almost got slammed by a big cement truck. They are not stopping at Yuma Road and Cotton Lane. When the light turns yellow, we had a green light to go left. And what they do is they see yellow, they put their foot to the pedal. So I'm waiting. There's been a couple of accidents there, and I just don't want to see someone die at that point. So I appreciate, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much, and good luck, new mayor.
All right, thank you.
All
With
right.
that, who wants to talk about the traffic? Somebody will lead him in the back there? Is
Mayor?
that you, Chris? All right, and I guess, Chief, you want to talk to him about the fireworks? I know a lot of it has to do with state.
It's okay.
Some of the laws. You-
We have his information, so we'll circle back with him and make sure we
Okay.
spend
You've
some
got his
time with
stuff?
him
Okay.
and answer all of his questions. So we'll get the speaker card from the clerk and make sure we answer all of your questions, sir. I don't see where you went, but
Okay,
there you are. All right.
okay. All right, thank you. All right, with that, let's see what we've got.
I have another card, Mayor.
Oh, you have another one? Go ahead.
Christina Younge?
Good afternoon, and thank you for listening to us. 10 years ago, I moved to this community. It was a beautiful community, full of farms, animals, open traffic. I mean, it was ideal for the older people, you know, not older people, the retired people, but what happened? Right now, we're living in an industrial park. We're living in a place that is so full of traffic that many of the people of our community have had many accidents. You know, this is a community that has been catering before to retirement communities. How many of them are there in this city? I think around 10 of them. But now we are so full of these tiny little houses, full of those apartment houses. And how much more are we going to take? How much more? What is the plans for this city? Because I don't understand it. With the traffic, the water is another problem. Even though I was told that we had water for 100 years or something like that, they told me the last time I was here. And yet, you know, when you listen to the news and everything, Colorado River is not doing that well. And you know, we're the fourth in line for the Colorado River, which means that if the other states want to stop it, we will not be getting anything. And then now I heard that we're going to be giving some water to another city, and we are arranging to give to other cities. Well, you know that Buckeye has problems with water. We know that Green River has problems with water. They don't have any water up there. And yet here, we're putting all of these places, all of these people, and what are we going to do for the future? What is the idea? I heard that we were going to work with desalinization of the water. Have we started that yet? Or is this just one plan, a dream, that maybe sometime we will have it? Then we have been selling ourselves to the billionaires and to the big corporations. I mean, Bill Gates owns such a huge land in Tonopah. He owns a lot of the land that used to be here, farming land. And not only that, but other areas. And we are not going to have more beef. You know, the beef industry is disappearing here in the area. Why? Why are we catering to these people and we don't care of the people, of us? Who is making these decisions? And why we don't know about all of these decisions? When were they made? I really would like to have, you know, an information about everything that is going on, because it is very difficult to live as a retired person in a place that is very far from where it was, you know, 10 years ago. Where can we go now? To another place so that they will do the same thing? Because we care more about the money that they give us so that we can build something like this, you know, instead of caring about the people, the veterans that don't have anything to eat or don't have a place to stay, or so many other people that are in need right now in the community, because this government is leaving a lot of people without any money. People are starving. And so what is really what we care for?
Okay.
I really would like to find out.
All right, thank you. City Manager, would you get some information to her about the general plan, who votes on it, how that happens, zoning, property rights, all of that? Can you get that to her on?
Yes, Mayor, we will.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? That's it, Mayor. Okay, thank you. Will the city clerk please read the consent agenda items 2 through 16 by title only?
Number 2, approval of minutes. Number 3, approval of New Series Town Beer and Wine Store liquor license for Quick Trip number 403 at 17260 West Yuma Road. Number 4, approval of New Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Bubba's 33 at 1460 North Bullard Avenue. Number 5, approval of New Series 12 restaurant liquor license for the Stillery at 1971 North Globe Drive. Number 6, approve the final plat for Arroyo Ranch, subject to stipulations. Number 7, approve the final plat for Prologis 303 Business Park, subject to stipulations. Number 8, conditionally approve the map of dedication of West Hadley Street of approximately .058 acres of right-of-way, subject to stipulations. Number 9, authorize the city manager or designee to execute the IGA between City of Phoenix Police Department and City of Goodyear to participate in the Arizona Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Number 10, approval of the Drug Enforcement Agency Equitable Sharing Agreement and Annual Certification Affidavit. Number 11, approve the City of Goodyear, Arizona and Department of Administration ADOA grant for 911 services and associated budget amendments. Number 12, authorize the expenditure of funds up to the amount of $1,364,600 for Goodyear Ballpark field lighting. Number 13, authorize the expenditure of construction funds up to $1,432,990 for capital improvement program project number 42072, San Gabriel Elliott Interconnect. Number 14, adopt resolution number 2024-2422, establishing public right-of-way required for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of South Cotton Lane and West Elwood Street, providing for an effective date and recordation.
Got it?
Nope, not quite. Number 15, adopt resolution
breather.
number 2024-2420, approving the amendment to the First Amended and Restated Parking Rights Agreement and partial release, providing authorization and direction for execution and providing an effective date. Number 16, approve a license agreement for Saraville Avenue crossing between the City of Goodyear and Pluto Energy Storage LLC.
Phew, that was a mouthful there, right, City Clerk? Is anybody want to pull or got a question on any of them? Yes.
Yeah, I got a question on the 16, the Pluto Energy one.
Okay.
I'm just curious, I just needed a photo. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, I think we got somebody who wants to pull it for a
I'd like to have a
presentation.
discussion on that
Yeah,
one.
On 16?
Yes.
Anybody else? Yes.
On 14, I don't know if this is a question or education. I had asked the question earlier about the installation of a traffic signal along Cotton Lane and how the 303 construction going down to MC 85 would affect this particular traffic light.
Do you want somebody to do a presentation, or you just want a question on how that?
No, I think I want that answer made publicly, not only for myself. I mean, I know the answer, and thought I knew the answer before, but for our new council member elects that are sitting in the audience, for anybody here, talk about what is going to happen with the 303 going south. Where does it about start to deviate west? Where does this traffic light fall into that? Blah, blah, blah. That we're not putting up
This is after.
$1 million traffic signal only to tear it down in 2 years when the 303 starts. That is what
Okay.
the public information I want.
Let Chris go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Stipp. The traffic signal that's proposed at Elwood and Cotton's actually already been designed. We've been working in concert with ADOT through their design process so that we are assured that we're not putting poles in a location that are then going to have to be moved later. So everything's been worked out for that, and we're all set there. The freeway itself primarily is on the Cotton Lane alignment down to Lower Buckeye. And then as it goes south of Lower Buckeye, it starts to veer a little bit to the west and then more and more behind and ends up behind Hootamaki and then crosses the railroad tracks and ends at MC 85. So there is a little bit of a curve in there, but it's basically straight down the Cotton Lane alignment for the most part.
So, again, just, I think, trying to emphasize the point that we have coordinated this then.
Correct.
To make sure that we aren't just throwing good money after bad. As the discussion for the future agenda item tonight comes up, we're going to talk about the 303 alignment and where does this fall into that. And Elwood is south of Lower Buckeye, therefore it's free and clear of the 303 alignment.
Correct.
So I think it's incumbent upon us to kind of start talking about the 303 because the construction on that is going to start shortly. And by shortly, I mean in lifetimes. But that we're paying attention to that and the things that are happening along Cotton Lane. Thanks.
Did you get your answer?
I got it the other day, but thank you.
Okay, anything else? Then can I get a motion and a second for, let's see, consent items 2 through 15? Got a motion and a second? All right, no further discussion. Can you open up for the voting? Hmm? 7-0. Now, can we get a presentation? And we've had 16 pulled? Go ahead and introduce yourself for the public, please.
Sarah Chilton, I'm the Deputy City Attorney, and I'm here to present on the aerial crossing license over Saraville. Thank you, Jasmine, for quickly putting together this presentation or this map. This property that we're working with is at the southwest corner of Commerce Drive and Saraville. It is between Elwood and MC 85. So the aerial crossing is to support that property at the southwest corner. It is zoned I-2. It is a battery energy storage system, and they will be feeding or storing power for the APS substation, which is on the west side, almost a little kitty corner. You can see it's that parcel, I can't do that. It's the parcel that's number 50006 046 or 051, but it's just a little kitty corner on the west side across the street.
Okay.
So the company needs to feed the power station. They came in and they needed to install 69 kV lines. We were approached by them about this easement, and originally staff wanted this underground, but there was a problem because I think APS had some concerns because there's a gas line, a Southwest gas line at that location. So having a 69 kV line undergrounded presented some problems. So staff's concerns were primarily related to safety of the traveling public, and safety of our employees who maintain streets. The city has a non-delegable duty to maintain their streets in a safe condition. And so after a lot of discussion, we came up with various terms that we thought addressed the safety issues. These safety precautions are outlined. Our concern was they didn't necessarily have staff in the state, but they have committed to having a staff member who can maintain these lines within I think it's 20 minutes of the lines in case there is a problem, so they can have somebody come out here. They have to have a safety representative that we can contact, and that person has to be available 365 days a year, 24/7. They also have a remote facility that we've been told can immediately de-energize a line. So, if we have an issue, they've committed to de-energizing the line. The agreement says if they don't de-energize the line immediately upon notification, then, we can terminate this agreement because we can't have live wires out there with no one really to maintain them. So we've increased, although there's an indemnification provision, indemnification provisions are based on the value, of the company. So they've increased the amount of insurance. We're requiring $10 million per occurrence for commercial general liability with a $3 million umbrella. So we've increased our insurance limits. They are posting a $5 million bond for the to secure it in case there's any damage to the city property. And we also have a requirement that if the agreement is terminated, then they will need to remove the improvements, and we have a $1 million bond that we can use if they don't do that. So we've put as many protections as we can in the agreement to allow the development to move forward while protecting city staff and the traveling public.
Thank you. We have any questions? First one up, it looks like Councilmember Hampton. Got a question?
Yeah, I had a couple. So for I think you might have mentioned this, right? Did we look at what it costs to do underground versus overhead?
I don't think if it was something that we thought was viable, we wouldn't have cared about the cost. It's just that there's a gas line right there. So I don't think, APS was comfortable having
both, yeah.
a 69 kV line underneath the street next to a gas line.
Okay.
So we did not evaluate it because it just wasn't something that APS was apparently comfortable with.
Yeah,
and, the other thing we worked with was with streets to make sure that there was distance between the traffic signal poles up there on the corner, because there's a traffic light up there on Commerce and Saraville.
Yeah. And then the other question is, so when we do widen Saraville, that's already taken into account, right?
One of the things that's in the agreement, I didn't put it here, but we did not want this development to impact our ability to widen Saraville. So the poles that they'll be installing are inside their property line, and they're already required to dedicate the right-of-way. It has to be outside the right-of-way that they have to dedicate for any expansion, any traffic turn lanes that might go in. And then also, we said their pole had to be inside where APS has some existing power poles on the west side. So it has to be on the other side of those power lines. We couldn't really tell APS what to do on their own property, but they've worked out so that their power lines will be on the other side, the east of the existing APS lines.
And this, I mean, since you're working on this deal, is this our first type of deal like this in the city of Goodyear? I know we have the runs that go to all,
Yes.
I mean, all around the city, but go to.
Yes,
like
this is the first one we've done an aerial crossing for a battery energy storage system.
Okay. And then is it going to be similar to the data storage centers where if they, I'm trying to think, I guess they just store the power, so there's not a sales tax type of, like when the data centers are on and running, we get a portion of when they're running for the power usage that they take. This is just storage, so there's not a sales tax necessarily benefit to the city for them storing the power, or is there some kind of
The
sales
only
tax?
revenue I think that we would get would be from property taxes. They're not, using energy, there's not sales tax or anything like that. So the only economic or financial benefit would be whatever property tax and how the state would evaluate or value those particular facilities. I think they may also be entitled to lower tax classifications, but.
Yeah, it's just similar to that solar project that we're looking at down south. They talked about if we had this batteries in our city, there'd be more revenue or sales tax revenue or something like that. So I was just curious what that looked like for this, if there was anything component like that here, so.
I think the one down south, they were talking about the revenues to the city would be minimal, but they were looking at tax benefits that other jurisdictions might, that might accrue to other jurisdictions. But I think even the ones that would come to the city were very minimal, and it was based on, property taxes.
And then outside of the aerial, is there have we approved or looked at what they can do with the Pluto Energy, the battery storage there? Like if we looked at fire and things like that, if something were to happen there?
So the property is zoned I-2, and there was a pre-application meeting in February of 2023. The zoning administrator, Christopher Baker, made a determination that it was consistent with other I-2 uses, and so his determination was that it was a permitted use under I-2 with no further action. So staff has been proceeding under that determination, moving forward with a site plan. I know they have site plan and improvement plans in. I was told that it's already gone out for the first review comments.
Okay, yeah, so make sure that our fire department are equipped and ready to, if something were to happen there, worst case scenario, that we're prepared for something that could be there, so.
I can't really speak to that because I don't know what was evaluated or who attended the pre-application meeting. All I know is that it was, the determination was made that it's a permitted use. Once it's a permitted use, then you're moving forward.
Yeah, that's fine. I just remember. Okay.
I'm sorry, Katie can answer some of the questions about the zoning related.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. Just to jump in, it is going through full plan review, and we are coordinating with the fire department and making sure it meets the International Fire Code and everything.
Yeah, and I figured we were. It's unique. It's unique, so I just want to make sure. I know the first battery storage APS didn't burn down in Flagstaff, so just want to make sure that we're taken care of. So, thank you. That's all I had.
Good. Councilmember Campbell?
Okay, so I'm not sure if you can answer this or not. Sorry. The poles, are they cement poles? Are they like all the other 69K lines or poles throughout the city?
I cannot answer that.
Okay.
Those poles, what I was told was that they don't have to be permitted because the only permits that they would be required to obtain from the city, because it's on their property and it's not a building or a structure. So the applicant is here, they might be able to answer that question. But the only permits that they would really be required would be if once they were installing the lines, they might have to get a traffic control permit to close that. So I really can't say.
Katie, have you got?
Thank you.
comment?
They will require permits. I can't tell you exactly what type of poles that they're installing, but they do go through plan review.
Okay. Most of the 69K lines throughout the city are the big cement poles.
Right.
Because of the winds that we have. I don't want whatever pole they use to blow down with the 69K line on it across Saraville. And it's an act of God, and you don't know when that's going to happen. But I just want to make sure that safety is paramount for not only the city, but the residents that use that road. And there's only going to be one line across Saraville, one line.
The agreement doesn't allow any co-locates. It doesn't allow any transfer of the license agreement. It's for this one particular company. So it should be one line that goes across.
And it'll be probably in the middle of Saraville.
Well, it's going to go kitty corner. It's going to go at an angle.
Well, if it goes kitty corner, how close is it going to be to West Commerce Drive and Saraville Drive Avenue? It's got to go to the APS site.
It's going into the APS site.
Yeah.
So they're coordinating with APS as to where they want that pole located on their property.
Okay, is APS here tonight? Is APS here tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But it will, they'll have their pole on theirs. We had to revise some of the agreement or some of the terms because APS had different locations that they wanted those poles. So they've been coordinating with APS because it is feeding the substation.
All right, and this is the first time that we've ever had this in our city. So we're setting a precedent.
That you would need an aerial crossing for 69 kV line, yes.
So this is only the license just for that company, not an open door for other companies to come and ask for the same thing.
Well, I'm sure that if you give it once, then, give a mouse a cookie.
That's true.
So,
the horse is out of the stable, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Vice Mayor?
Sarah, thank you for talking with me this afternoon about this item so I could get a lot of my questions answered. And I do appreciate the effort that you put into the safety stipulations about the aerial crossing. Well, it turned out my questions and concerns really weren't so much the aerial crossing. It had more to do with the industrial permitting, whether or not a special use permit was required for a battery storage. Ironically, our last meeting before break was about a huge battery storage, like 2,000 acres, and now here we are, battery storage, certainly on a much smaller scale. But this is probably more for Katie to talk about I guess what the thought process is does size matter? If we zoomed out on this picture, I'd like to see how the proximity to residential and maybe what factors would go into. Sarah did share with me what are permitted uses in the industrial, which include a lot of different things. But some do require special use permits that relate to cement, lime, gypsums, plaster of Paris, fertilizers and things things that could be potentially hazardous. And I know that we've had a number of conversations from the dais recently concerned about fire suppression, fire safety related to the batteries. So just want to know what the overall plan is for this and how the approval process will work.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. One thing I do want to clarify is that it was determined that battery storage is a permitted use in our I-2 district. The case that was before you a few weeks ago is for an energy generation facility, a solar facility, and that is what requires a special use permit.
Thank you.
The area in Mobile is zoned agricultural and AU, and so it was determined that we could consider the battery storage along with that energy storage special use permit. They both go through the public process, go to council. So we'd be able to do that without zoning property in the Sonoran Valley area industrial, which is a benefit to the applicant and the community. So it's not so much a determination on the type of project or the size. Battery storage is considered a permitted use in the I-2 district. As part of the review of any project, site plans go to our fire department for overall review and approval. And when we get our construction plans in, at some point, we do get a schedule of chemicals that are going to be stored inside a facility for any project. They have to give us the quantities and detailed information about those chemicals. And then we use that information to review against the fire code to make sure everything's stored appropriately. We consult with the fire marshal as needed. And if it got to the point where there was the storage of chemicals or similar type materials, that the fire marshal said, you know what, this does seem to be veering into a hazardous process or hazardous storage, we then could require a use permit if we felt that was necessary. So that'll be part of the review of the project.
Okay. That helps me to understand the process a lot better, and I'm happy to hear that there is a methodology and consideration of potential hazards. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Hampton?
Sorry, I just had a quick follow-up. So I'm sure during your discussions about safety, since it is on the road, I don't know if it's a standard or not, but I know other generation facilities, they put bollards around these power lines. So I just wanted to verify that that's part of the process, especially right next to a road, that there's bollards at least around the state structure, the power line structure. I don't know if you have that, if you know that or not. In the notes here, you guys talked extensively about safety, so I was just curious if that was one of them.
Thank you, sir. I'm not sure if I caught the whole question, but there are standards of separation. There has to be distances. I don't know what all that is off the top of my head, but the footers have to be completely outside the PUE.
I'm just about bollards around the structure.
Oh.
So if a truck was to ram into the structure, it wouldn't take out the power line. It would just it would stop at the bollards and not take out the power line.
Oh, thank you, council member. Typically, the footer, the concrete section is tall enough that would take care of it, but that would be part of the review.
Okay.
That it's safe, yes.
Okay, that's what I make sure, so. All right, that's all I had, thank you.
Good. I see a motion and a second already up. So with that, can you go ahead and open up the voting? Thank you for your presentation. Passes 7-0. We have one public hearing tonight. Public hearing items to consider the El Cedro 9th Restated Planning Area Development, Willow at El Cedro. Let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Please introduce yourself to the public.
Good evening, Mayor Pizzillo and Council. My name is Christian Williams, Planning Manager, and I'm before you this evening with a request from Alex Hayes to conduct a rezoning on a property within the city. The entire property is approximately 583 acres. However, our larger focus will be on 42 acres of that property. The 42 acres is located in central Goodyear within an undeveloped portion of El Cedro, which is located on the southwest corner of 169th Avenue and Lower Buckeye Road. There's a black arrow to depict where that site is. The property is currently zoned PAD and is located in the neighborhood portion of the Goodyear 2035 General Plan Land Use Map. Zooming in a little closer to the site, specifically to the 42 acres that will be at the heart of today's discussion, north of that site is a city-owned property that is currently being farmed and is a part of this rezone case. North of that farm is Lower Buckeye Road and Canyon Trails 4 South residential development. To the south is Arable Vistas, formerly known as Vita at El Cedro. To the west is Cotton Lane, as well as the future route for the Arizona State Route 303 loop, as well as the remainder of the El Cedro residential development. And to the east is a private dirt road for 169th Avenue, as well as unincorporated Maricopa County islands, which are largely, predominantly large lot residential. The original El Cedro PAD was first approved at a size of 616 acres back in 2007. And as you can tell by the title of this, the El Cedro PAD has formally been amended 8 times. In addition to the 8 formal amendments, the PAD has had 3 properties separately taken out of the PAD. So really in our modern history, we're talking about 11 changes to the original acreage that made up El Cedro. On the left, you can see what the land use areas looked like back in 2018 of June. And the 8th amendment that is before you, the 8th amendment was prior to the Vita at El Cedro Parcel 5 and the Logistics 85 Parcel 8 being pulled out of the overall PAD. You'll recall those cases in the last couple of years. The 9th amendment, if approved, is what the map on the right depicts, and I will point your attention to parcels 3 and parcels 4 because those are really the items that are changing within this PAD amendment. So the 9th amendment does administratively clean up the PAD as a whole. It clarifies that parcel 5 and 8 are no longer a part of this 9th PAD amendment and that they are their own PADs. There is also some errors that were caused by 2 rezoning cases that happened in 2018 around the same time, and those rezoning cases actually rezoned our public facility district well site back to mixed use. So what this PAD clarification does is clarify that wells are permitted in all land use districts of El Cedro, so that if we have to maintain or expand our well sites, we may do that for the benefit of this community. Additionally, due to the age of this PAD, certain modern development standards were not included, such as how accessory buildings would be treated. So all parcels within El Cedro have been assigned a corresponding underlying zoning district so that parking, accessory buildings, lighting, and other items can be addressed by residents who want to make further improvements to their homes. The PAD also largely modifies Parcel 4, which currently has a land use of LDR1, or 60-foot wide by 120-foot deep lots. The amendment now proposes 3 new land use districts: MFR, or multifamily residential, MDRA, or medium density residential attached for short townhomes, and LDR5, low density residential for single family detached. So here's a depiction that shows the land use area and a conceptual layout of what the site might look like. The MDR zoning would allow for 19.9 dwelling units per acre and have an underlying zoning district of MF18. The applicant is requesting 40 feet in height as opposed to the typical 30 foot of height provided in a typical MF18. In order to justify the additional height, a 15-foot landscape buffer will be provided along the southern boundary of that MFR parcel, and a green belt shall be provided on the west, which is adjacent to the northbound frontage road for Cotton Lane, which is located immediately adjacent to the SR 30, Arizona Loop 30, which, as we talked about earlier, at Lower Buckeye Road, hugs this development and then curves to the west behind Hutamaki. 303. The 303. The 303 freeway, as a note, will be in a range of height from 15 foot above grade to approximately 25 foot above grade, similar to Van Buren Street. In addition, though, it may have a sound wall on top of it that is 10 foot high. So in reality, the freeway and the sound wall might be at a height of 35 feet, between 25 and 35 feet, so it can cross over Lower Buckeye Road, which on this map is approximately right here. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, residents and the commission had concerns about additional height, and we'll discuss those in a little bit more detail on the next slide, but the modern block appearance of the proposed buildings was a topic as well, and as such, stipulations were added to account for roof variety and blending with the residential character that has already been established within El Cedro, as well as stepping back the buildings when they are immediately adjacent to single-family homes on the LDR5 parcel. The LDR5 parcel, the MDRA parcel will be developed with an underlying zoning of R1A or townhomes, but the lot widths and lot areas shall be reduced to 30 feet and 2,400 square feet. This aligns also with what is now allowed within our R1A reduced zoning, which was approved while this case was going on. Additional streetscape and amenity elements will offset that lot width reduction in similar vein to the R1A reduce that we just recently approved. The LDR5 parcel in the blue will be developed with an underlying zoning of R1A, except with 90-foot deep lots and 15-foot deep backyards. That will be offset with additional amenity elements, as well as a green belt located along the entire eastern boundary of the property to buffer those homes from the existing large lot residential within the county. For open space and connectivity, the development will continue the Cotton Lane Greenbelt Trail within a 50-foot wide landscape buffer on the west side of the property, which again is adjacent to the Cotton Lane frontage road and the future Loop 303. That corridor on the west will contain a 6-foot wide concrete trail and pedestrian connections to the development, as well as a DG trail alongside it. On the east, there will be a 60-foot wide landscape buffer with a 6-foot wide DG trail and at least one connection to the southern trail corridor. So again, what's being formed here is a looped system. For general open space, there will be a 1.5 acre park in parcel 4B and a 2 acre park within parcel 4C. The first of the parks shall be provided with a pool accessible to all the residential homes within El Cedro on the Willow side, and there will be trail connections from that pool amenity center to the overall trail system. The multifamily parcel will provide at least a 6,500 square foot clubhouse, a resort-style pool, shaded seating areas, a fitness center, an outdoor barbecue area, and turf area. The multifamily shall be developed with a minimum of 4 unique building schemes of 2 base colors and 3 accent colors and/or materials, and have variation in roof height. And if 3-story buildings are constructed they shall step down closer to the single-family residential. We'll talk more about stipulations regarding that on the next slide. And if the LDR5 homes are required to provide 3 streetscape elements, if they are developed with reduced side setbacks, they're required to provide 4 streetscape elements. The MDRA development shall provide 2 streetscape elements, again, as an offset to some of the smaller lot dimensions that they're proposing. A neighborhood meeting was held on January 16th, 2024. Approximately 10 people were in attendance at that meeting, and the attendees voiced concerns over water use for a subdivision, school capacities, a desire for more personal services in the area, such as veterinarians, doctors, and hospitals, concerns for increased traffic, a desire for trail connections, and concerns over the irrigation ditch on the east side of the project, which is actually off the project. As a note, the irrigation ditch will remain untouched, and if there are any modifications to irrigation ditches, the owner will work with those properties and facility owners to make sure that the water is conveyed and is all said and good. At the Planning and Zoning Commission, one resident spoke in opposition to the project, citing the height of the buildings next to Lower Buckeye Road on the north and their single-family home community to the north. It was noted in the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting by commissioners that there is a city-owned parcel to the north, that is that little triangle piece here. And when we're talking about the MFR development here, the distance of our city-owned parcel is approximately 220 feet on the big side on the west to about 100 feet on the east side. So there is a buffer from what the development is proposing, and if the city were to sell that site, we would have some flexibility on how we wanted to sell it and what provisions went into that to address height. Additionally, commissioners had concern about the height of the MFR immediately adjacent to the LDR5 single-family residential homes. And as stated earlier, they were not the most fond of the modern flat roof of the apartments. So the stipulations were crafted. The applicant appeared to be in agreement with those. One of the stipulations about the residential character of those buildings, making sure that they include tile-like elements that are in character with the El Cedro development. That can be accomplished with a 3-story product within the 40 foot of height plus our height standards. That can be accomplished. Additionally, there was concern about the ends of the building. So in a typical MF18 product, you are required to step down the edges of buildings to 2 stories. The applicant has requested to not step down heights, but they have agreed to the stipulation that they will step down the heights when they are immediately adjacent to the LDR5 parcel if they're within 100 feet of that parcel line. Staff has evaluated the impacts of this proposed zoning on the greater community, and with no major concerns being found, staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission have recommended you approve the rezoning for the property to Planned Area Development Zoning District for the 9th Amendment of El Cedro, which largely changes the parcel standards for parcel 4 and 3 as set forth in the ordinance and with the stipulations included from PNC. The applicant is here. They do have a presentation if it is needed, but I'm happy to take any planning and zoning related questions that you might have.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak at this time? No? Why don't you wait to see if we have some questions, and we'll pop you up at that point, all right? Would anybody in the audience like to speak? Okay, seeing none, let me do this. Let me close the public hearing. Go ahead and read the ordinance, please.
Adopt ordinance number 2024-1601, conditionally rezoning approximately 583.33 gross acres generally located at the southwest corner of Lower Buckeye Road and the 169th Avenue alignment, South Canyon Trails Boulevard, to the El Cedro 9th Amended Planned Area Development, May 2024, providing for corrections, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, providing for penalties, and directing the city clerk to record a copy of this ordinance.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second for ordinance number 2024-1601? I see a motion and the second on the board. All right, seems like everything's lit up here. Let's see, start with Councilmember Stipp.
Thank you, Mayor. Christian, when did, and if you said it, I did not hear it. When did El Cedro first appear?
2007 is when we first approved it.
2007. So it has been through a number of iterations over the last 17 years, I think, which makes a whole lot of sense given what has changed. Earlier, I asked for elevation photos. Do you happen to have those photos of what the 303 potentially could look like?
May I get a roll plot of the 303, please? I believe it's in a different presentation. Well, while we're looking to see if we can get it, the freeway height at Lower Buckeye Road will be approximately the height that exists right now at Van Buren Street with the decorative wall that goes over. That wall on that portion of the freeway is about 5 to 6 feet. There's a potential that at this portion, there might be a 10-foot high sound wall on top of the freeway.
I am fairly certain this is not the photo that I want.
No, this is not.
What
That's
I'm-
aerial crossing. I believe it's the one on the very top of the folder. Sorry. One above. There we go.
Nope, not that one either. It's a photograph. It was a photograph of the, I'm not seeing it listed there. Okay,
I apologize.
not your fault. What I'm going to ask for everybody sitting in this room, at least for the next 3 months, anytime we get anything along the 303, please produce the photograph showing the elevation that you sent to me last week. It is astonishing how different that area is going to look, and nobody has a visual on what does that look like. And I'm not lecturing you, I'm just in general. The elevation in that entire region is going to change implicitly with the elevation of the 303 through there. And we talk about this right now, and it's hard to imagine because that is a surface level road. And I am not the sharpest crayon in the box. I can't visualize what 25 feet look like. So even if that were the case, with or without a sound wall, a 25-foot elevation change is pretty significant. So changing this from its original designation in height to 40 feet in height is not that significant when you compare that to a 25-foot or greater freeway running through at least half, if not 3/4 of that parcel. And I think that, and I've only been asking for this for 2 years, so I don't know why we're going to do it in the last 3 months, but these photographs and these elevations have got to start showing up in all of the presentations so that not only the council understands it, but the public sees it. And it will take away a lot of the argument in the conversation about why are we doing this height, why are we doing this here. To say I'm frustrated by it is an absolute understatement. And I'm just kind of flabbergasted by that. So it is this project and the rezoning of these parcels probably makes the most amount of sense in that area, given that we have industrial to the south. We have a well site to the south. We have multifamily or townhomes area to the south. We've got the county to the east. We've got a freeway to the west. We've got I'm going to say a major road, but Lower Buckeye is a significant arterial roadway. Of all the places we have plopped in multifamily, this is probably one that makes the greatest amount of sense. So I hope, based on what we have been taught over the years, that everybody agrees with that. But this is a good project, and I appreciate the work that you've done to help get it to a design standard that meets what we're looking for. Thanks, Christian.
Vice Mayor?
I agree that this is a good project. I like the variety of housing options. It has exceptional open space, far above and beyond what is required. And the attention put towards the trail system, I think, is really exemplary. I think that does a lot for the neighbors that have the more of the equestrian lifestyle. It considers what their needs are as well. It's an interesting parcel just put in there. So I think the project's good. As far as the stipulations, planning and zoning, I think we're all tired of the flat roofs, and I think that some roof variety certainly is very welcome. But the question that I had about is this step-down unit, because when I talked with Katie about it, it's not like you're not going from like 3 stories and then the next building's 2 stories. We're actually proposing removing a unit from the end of a building. Is that correct? Can you clarify what all that exactly means?
It means that the building on those ends that are immediately adjacent to the single family have to be stepped down. And right now, within our design standards, all MF18 projects should have to do that. In this case, the applicant requested that they all be 3. And really what they're getting is every other building does not have to step down, with the exception of the ones on the ends. It's not necessarily saying also that you have to lose a unit. It's saying that you need to relocate a unit further away from the single-family residential.
But it's also my understanding that that's a requirement that has not been put in place before.
It has been put in place before by all MF18 projects. They, in their PAD overlay, are requesting to not have to adhere to that standard.
Okay.
So really what they're doing is adhering to it only on the ends next to single family. The rest of their buildings are free and clear of that standard.
Do you have a photo of what that looks like? Because
Yes.
from what I understood, it's 3 stories until you get to the end, and then it drops to 2. And I just can't fathom what it looks like.
Yes, let's do a quick...
Thank you.
Sorry, this is on the fly, so we're going to...
That's all right.
All right. This is better than Elmo. All right. So, I hope I nailed it, but actually, one more street over, I apologize. Like that.
Is that all attached?
Yes, all one building, but
Okay.
it will drop by 1 story.
Okay,
So
that's
in-
actually helpful because I was having trouble envisioning. If we were building next to an established residential, single-family neighborhood, I think that might make a lot of sense, but this is their own project. The single-family residential as well as the multifamily is all their own project. And I feel like they have positioned their buildings in such a way to create view corridors. And I just don't know if we're putting on an additional burden that may not be necessary because it's not coming up next to a established neighborhood as we've had. And I don't recall that we've ever even done that for established neighborhoods to go down just 1 unit. So I do have concerns about the second stipulation. We'll see how the conversation goes.
Up, Councilmember Hampton?
Yeah, I appreciate all the hard work. There's a lot of stipulations and a lot of just a lot of things going on with this project here. So, but I had a couple quick questions. A random question real quick. The first one is, how big is that City of Goodyear triangle portion?
It's not, I don't have the exact acreage on the top of my head, but on the far west end, it's about 220 feet north to south, and on the far east end, it's about 40 feet. Really what it was intended for was for Lower Buckeye Road to be widened off of the freeway, and what I can tell you is that ADOT will most likely not need all of that land.
Okay, because I would imagine we could also use it to widen Lower Buckeye there as well, because right now it's just a 2-lane, and it's kind of
Correct.
a county, little country road, really,
Correct.
when I jog over there. So, okay. Yeah, I'm just curious what that parcel size was. It's probably not big enough for like a city building or anything like that, but it'd be good enough for to potentially widen the road.
You could fit a building in the
Not a
western
fire
portion.
station or something like that. I don't know if that needs to go there. I'm just thinking out loud. But yeah, widen it up. And you said that the canal, I think the applicant mentioned this as well. So the canal, is there a stipulation that if it needs to work with that county side, that they'll cover it and what that looks like?
That's
so,
correct.
okay. And I do appreciate the trail system around it. I think that's good as well. Is the apartment complex a gated community?
Pardon?
Is it gated?
There's not a requirement for it to be gated. Right now, this is just land use.
Okay. And let's see here. And is there a stipulation? I don't know. I know it's affordable. I'm just curious. I know we can't make it look like it, but do the apartments have balconies? Is that
All multifamily is required to have a 60-foot patio,
okay? Okay, good.
private
So-
open space.
Okay. And the MDRA, I like that. That's an option. That's the first time we've really had that designation where we can own a house like that. It's not like a court home. It's a little different than a court home.
It allows for townhomes, so like the Ascent project that was recently approved could be developed in this same zoning. It's very similar to our R1A standards, but reduced.
Okay. Yeah, you're talking about the one near Las Brisas?
Yes, that one as well, yes.
Okay. Or reminds me of like the pyramids or something like that, like a condo-y.
Similar.
Townhouse kind of product. So, okay. No, I like that there's more entry-level owner-occupied homes, so I'm glad that they're bringing that product here as well. Yeah, and I appreciate the height and understanding the height requirements. So it looks like at the max, it could be only a 5-foot difference off of a 35-foot sound wall to the height of the 40-foot of this building potentially.
That's correct. To the roof line, yeah.
To the roof line,
Mhm.
yeah.
You might have a you might have a pitched roof above that, but yes.
Yeah, and it seems like setbacks are pretty far, especially from the north and the south, and even the county island. I mean, there's really just single-story homes there, so, okay. I think I'm good. I think I think the apartment will, and a noise barrier also for the residents that'll be there, and also the county island. I think that's all the questions I had. So, yeah, I don't know if I love the multifamily, but I think it fits in this particular situation with the rest of the things that'll be there. So, thank you.
And I'll just note on the screen is a picture of Van Buren. Thank you, Councilmember Stipp, for your comments, and we hear you there. That wall above where you have the row of cotton balls, that's probably a 5 to 6 foot high wall, so you could get a 10-foot wall on top of there. So double cotton balls.
But the height of so, Mayor, if you don't mind, the height of the freeway, this was my bigger point, is not to the right of this photo, but to the left. It's that area up, that is the height of the freeway. Not as it goes down, but it is going to be high.
Yes, at Lower Buckeye Road, it will be this high. And it will stay high in that section particularly because it has to go over Elwood Road.
Correct.
And there's going to be some flyover ramps. There's a lot happening in that area.
Right, so it is going to be exceptionally high. So when
Yes.
we talk about 40 feet in height, right, today you look at it and go, that's not necessary. 3 years from now, it's going to be a completely different visual in that area.
You're going to have a 3-foot, 100-foot wide corridor of freeway.
And that's the point I was trying to make, why
Yes,
this
sir.
picture in and of itself is so important. Thank you.
Councilmember Loretano?
Thank you very much on the presentation. Could you put on the other one of the 303 that's the kind of the aerial that shows
A
where
roll
things
plot?
shooting off of it?
Yes. May I have the roll plot again, please?
Roll plot, thank you.
I learned that from Christopher, so.
I saw a lot coming going, so
No, here we go. Oh.
things were flashing on my screen.
Top PDF. All right, I'll try to zoom in and describe this as best as I can.
Could you explain where this property is, and so people listening see, because I think the picture that Councilmember Stipp showed is very important, but I would like to tie it in also with where the interchanges, if they are planned on this yet, going to be compared to this
Yes.
property.
So this piece right here is the property. This green line, so if you're at Elwood, the new traffic signal we just talked about, if you're heading north on Elwood, it's this green line. That will put you on a Cotton Lane frontage road and put you at Lower Buckeye Road, which goes east to west. You can also go north and get on a ramp that goes onto the main line 303, which will take you to Yuma or the real fancy Target. Coming from the south, or coming from north to south, there's a lot of ramps. So you either can continue on Main Line, which is this orange line. You go over a bridge, you go over the bridge at Elwood, you go down to MC85. There's also an on-ramp here that will put you either fly over or fly under to Cotton Lane, or you'll fly over to Elwood. And then there's another ramp coming from the south MC85 if you wanted to exit and hop onto Lower Buckeye.
I appreciate that. I think this is another visual that you should add with the 303, the areas that the interchanges are, so that people can see that it's just not even just going to be one ramp. It's going to be, as Councilmember Stipp said, a lot going on here, and it's going to be very high and pretty intricate, because this at some point is going to continue on around the mountain and become a major corridor. It's stopping now at the river, but it's not going to continue to stop there at some point. So I'm happy with the plans. I think this is a good place, and I appreciate the applicant working with the city to place these at this location. This would not be a good place that close. That is literally hugging that property. It looks like the roads for the freeway, so I think it's a good fit. I appreciate the stipulations. I think they do help and make it meet the neighborhood. I personally don't have a problem with the flat roofs or the other roofs. My biggest concern is always to make sure that they look like they have those design elements that you've spoken to. Because the more design elements, the more unique they look, and then they don't look boxy, whether they're houses, apartments, or whatever. If they all look the same, that's what we're trying to prevent, to have some different options so that they do kind of mix it up a little. The inside may be the same floor plan or a similar floor plan, but the outside, when you add those, I think really does help add uniqueness to the community. So I'm happy with this. Now, the ones that are going to be for sale, is that correct?
They will be platted and have the opportunity to be sold.
And where are they on this point, just on this here?
If I may pull up well, I'll just point to one here.
Just point to it, that's good.
This back area closest to the, let's call them more rural homes, will all be single-family detached. And then the homes down here on the south end are a townhome product. So you got your multifamily furthest from the rural, closest to the freeway. You got your townhomes immediately adjacent to that single-story multifamily to the south, and getting a little closer to the rural lots, but with that greenbelt buffer. And then you have your traditional single-family to the far east.
And I think that's a good place for it, because we're buffering it with the apartments for people that can see that. So if you're buying a single-family home, or the other ones, you're going to be further because of the curve in the freeway from the freeway. So I think that's very good land use planning for this area. And it's very important to note that homes in Goodyear and the Phoenix market are not expected to go any lower. So different options and different product, as this is going to have some different product, I think are what we need to continue to grow with our residents and have people have options that want to live here or move and stay in the Goodyear area. So I do appreciate and I support it. So thank you.
There's not a whole much more to add, but I do like the stipulations that are in there. I like the variety, even if it's a step down, it's better than just something straight across from my perspective, from a visual. And the roof lines, I like them to vary. I mean, if you go to 101, go up 101 where those Glendale projects are, and you see everything that's the exact same color, everything with the exact same roof lines. I don't know about you, but I don't like the way it looks, okay? So I think if you vary that a little bit, at least breaks it up a little bit from a visual, especially if you're up on the highway, seeing that from off in a distance, and they will be on that 40-foot, or whatever it is highway. So I have no problem. I think it's a good place for it, especially the apartments closer to the freeway. So with that, we've got a motion and a second up, right? So now we can open it for voting. Passes 6-1. Thank you. All right, we have two items on business. One would like to remind council to wait for a motion and a second. The first item on business is consider an IGA with the City of Glendale for a series of annual water exchanges. Go ahead, Barb, please introduce yourself for the public.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Barbara Chappell, Water Services Director. I'm here tonight to request approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Goodyear to implement a new water management strategy. We're also asking for authorization for the city manager to administer and execute our implementation agreement with the Central Arizona Water Conservation District. That is the governing body over the Central Arizona project. This agreement would allow an equal exchange of water resources. And just to help kind of give some of the specifics, we're going to talk a little bit geography this evening. So the first thing I wanted to point out is the Central Arizona Project Canal. It's highlighted here in green. And the City of Glendale operates the Pyramid Peak Water Treatment Facility, and it's located right on that canal bank. So they rely on that water in the canal to run that water plant. The next item I wanted to bring to your attention is we call it the CSIF, that's the CAP and SRP Interconnect Facility. And that is a part of our water delivery strategies. So we have Central Arizona Project water supplies that come into the valley through that canal that's highlighted, and then we push that water through this interconnect facility into the Salt River Project facility, where a series of canals and laterals brings it back west to the valley and to our surface water treatment facility. So what this agreement does is it allows us to be able to exchange with Glendale some Colorado River water where they can take it where they need it at their Pyramid Peak plant in exchange for equal volumes of water they have stored in the Salt and Verde reservoirs. And so we will receive the water in the same, through the same canals that we receive our Colorado River water. We just don't have to utilize that interconnect facility. There are fees associated with that interconnect facility that Glendale are going to pay since we don't necessarily need it. And so that's kind of the way the city is benefiting in this agreement. So Goodyear is going to get some of our fees covered for what we pay Salt River Project for the capacity in that interconnect facility. And so I have a recommendation for approval of the intergovernmental agreement with Glendale, and also that piece for the city manager to execute our implementation agreement that CAP requires.
Thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, with City Council, please enter a motion and a second to approve the intergovernmental agreement, IGA, between the cities of Glendale and Goodyear, providing for water exchanges and authorizing the city manager to execute the CAWCD exchange implementation agreement. I see a motion. And I see a second. With that, let's open it up for discussion. I got Councilmember Hampton up first.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Barbara, for keep thinking outside the box for different ways to save money for the city and different opportunities for us. So I think it's a great idea. I'm definitely supportive of it. And I don't know if I'm reading this right. You say we're going to save like almost $402,000? Is that what we were paying there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I don't want to take that. That's not unnoticed. So I appreciate you looking outside the box and saving the city money, and also still making sure we have enough water to continue building and growing. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Stipp.
In that same vein, just when I thought you were awesome, you become awesomer.
Is that a word?
It's not, but Councilmember Gillis came up with new words, so I'll make mine up too. This is such a great way forward for us to continue to innovate with our water solutions, that it almost wipes out not having the slide in the presentation. So you can thank Barb tomorrow in the staff meeting for doing all that good work. But no, in all seriousness, we have benefited so greatly by your expertise and the way that you've moved forward, Barb. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're saving $400,000, and I don't want to overlook that, and I think that part is awesome, but just the ability for us to wheel and move this water into the city in the most effective way is tremendous. And when I saw this, I was just blown away by that. So I wanted to publicly tell you thank you.
I don't see anything else up there, but yeah, Barb, I'd like to thank you too for being innovative, not just the $400,000 being a numbers guy, but also the fact we're always looking at ways to make sure we have plenty of water and we stay ahead of the curve, not working from behind the curve. So thank you very much. With that, can you go ahead and open the voting? Passes 7-0. Thank you, Barb. All right, the next item on business is to consider support for inclusion of a new Sub-Zero facility as a foreign trade zone, user-driven site. Go ahead and please introduce yourself for the public.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Wendy Bridges, Economic Development Director for the City of Goodyear. The item before you is support for inclusion of a new Sub-Zero facility as a foreign trade zone user-driven site. Giving the presentation tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dara Mann, Deputy Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Wendy. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sub-Zero is a family-owned manufacturer of luxury kitchen appliances based in Wisconsin and is one of Goodyear's top 10 employers. Sub-Zero was the first business to locate at PV 303 and the catalyst for the development of Loop 303 as a major employment center. They were also the first Goodyear business to qualify for foreign trade zone status. Sub-Zero purchased an existing 440,000 square foot building in 2010, made a $68 million investment in the city of Goodyear, and estimated 388 new jobs. In 2015, they expanded the facility that's pictured here, adding an additional 248,000 square feet, investing an additional $34 million, and another 100 Goodyear jobs were estimated at that time. Sub-Zero has surpassed these employment estimates. Today, this current facility has over 690 employees with an average wage of $59,000. At their current facility, which is shown here in green, they manufacture luxury built-in refrigerators and wine refrigerators. Sub-Zero is now expanding again in Goodyear. Their expansion location, shown here in blue, is at the southwest corner.
Dara, we're having technical difficulties, so they can't see what you're saying.
You can see it?
I can see it on my laptop.
Yeah, it's on a laptop, so
Okay.
continue
Okay,
to describe it. but-
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So the blue facility is less than a mile north of their current location, and at this new facility, they will manufacture components for door shelves and crisper drawers and assemble service kits and accessories with capacity for additional future manufacturing. For this expansion, they have made an additional investment in the city of Goodyear of $118 million. They anticipate another 143 new jobs by year 5, paying an average wage of $52,000, and will have an annual payroll of $7.4 million at full employment. A third-party economic analysis estimates the expansion facility will have a 10-year impact of $594 million for the community and a 10-year direct tax revenue to the city of Goodyear of $5.6 million. The expansion brings Sub-Zero's total square footage in Goodyear to 1.3 million, with a capital investment of $220 million and 834 jobs. As a major employer, Sub-Zero continues their commitment to provide significant employment opportunities to residents. And as Goodyear's largest manufacturer, they play a crucial role as an economic driver in attracting other quality employers to Goodyear. Sub-Zero is seeking support for foreign trade zone status for their expansion site. Based upon the estimates shown here, Sub-Zero qualifies for property reclassification under the agreement provisions of Goodyear's foreign trade zone policy adopted in 2023. The agreement provisions under the new policy, the city will support property tax reclassification only if all provisions are met. Those include the property is properly zoned. There is a minimum $25 million investment. They intend to hire a minimum of 100 full-time equivalent employees. Pay those employees at least 51%. Of the employees are paid 125% of the median wage or higher. And the company pays at least 65% of the employee's healthcare premium. If a company, in this case Sub-Zero, fails to meet these requirements, they would pay a pilot agreement or payment in lieu of tax that would bring those taxing jurisdictions up to the full assessed valuation. It is staff's recommendation to support foreign trade zone status for Sub-Zero's expansion facility. Thank you. That concludes my presentation. Wendy and I are available for questions, and Sub-Zero representatives are here this evening as well.
Okay, any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak at this time? Seeing none, will the city clerk please read resolution number 2024-2421 by title only?
Adopt resolution number 2024-2421, committing support for the future application for the activation and inclusion within the boundaries of the FTZ number 277, Western Maricopa County, of certain property generally located at the southwest corner of Camelback Road and Cotton Lane as a single-user, user-driven foreign trade zone site for the operation of a manufacturing facility by Sub-Zero Group Incorporated, subject to conditions, providing authority and direction, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Will the city council enter a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2024-2421? I see a motion and a second on the board. Open up for discussion. First up, Councilmember Hampton.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this to us. I think this is a good expansion project. Sub-Zero, like I said, is one of the first took a chance on Goodyear for this area, and I think it's paid off for them. They've done really well there, and I'm looking forward to more of Sub-Zero expanding here. They're a good employer, they're a good community partner, and I think they pay fairly well for the area, and I think help with some of the wages around that area also. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it being here, so thank you for working with them to make that happen. So we like manufacturers in Goodyear, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilmember Stipp.
Sub-Zero, who's our Sub-Zero rep? Here we are, sorry. Just thank you for what you do in the community. You guys have really been great partners for us, a great employer, and it's exciting. As I'm here we are. As I'm wrapping things up, one of the very first memento I got as a council member was from the Sub-Zero ribbon cutting going into the new facility. So it's kind of nice to see this being one of my last acts on council as well. So you guys have always been a great partner, make a great product on top of it. So let's not forget to do the commercial. But this is exciting, and this is exactly what the foreign trade zone was meant to do. So thank you for being in our community.
Again, thank you. I assume we're going to see both of you tomorrow? There we go. All right, again, I think this is a great product, a great, great thing that we're doing, and a great partners that you've been with the city. So with that, if you would, go ahead and open up for the voting. Passes 7-0, thank you. Let's see, we got an executive session coming up next, but before we do that, let's see if we can get any of the current events anybody wants to mention? Yes?
I have a question for the manager.
Okay, well, hold on for that thought. You got a question? Any want to add anything?
Glad to be back.
Just glad to be back? Okay. Do you have a question for the manager, or you got something you want to add?
No, I want to add.
Huh?
I want to add.
Go ahead.
I want to welcome Trey Terry and Benita Beckles to the council coming up in January. They won their election. Vice Mayor won her election, and I want to say welcome back and thank you.
Oh, thank you there. All right, with that, who had the question? Councilmember Stipp? And then, okay, anybody else over here? Okay.
So we got the notification Friday that Estrella Parkway construction is going to start next week. We're going to have a significant north-south delay occurring in the city. At the same time, Bullard Avenue is down to one lane. Thank you. And we had said a long time ago, we are not supposed to be closing two roadways at the same time. So please, somebody tell me that Bullard Road is going to be done before we start shutting down the other one, because if I hear one more complaint about traffic, I'm going to lose it.
We will get that answer to you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We're not supposed to be shutting down to the road, and we talked about this for an hour. So we got to get this figured out, and I realize we're probably not the ones doing the construction on Bullard, but quite frankly, I don't care. We cannot shut down Bullard at the same time we shut down Pebble Creek Parkway or Estrella Parkway at that. We can't do it. People are going to, they're going to be. Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have two questions. The first is, I think we talked about this with the grants passed, the Oregon decision on homelessness about getting a ordinance in place for Goodyear.
We will be bringing that back this fall.
Okay. So I would love to have that before I go. And also, I will give the chief some information, if he doesn't, from the Phoenix Rescue Mission to help with the homeless, if the people get them housed. And then my other one is a traffic issue as well. Who is in charge of the lights at Dysart and McDowell? Nobody. That was not helpful.
Avondale.
Can we reach out to Avondale? Because when you're trying to go westbound on McDowell, the light is literally like 10 seconds to get across. It does the arrow after it does the arrow and lets you go. You have that's just a nightmare, and people run it like crazy. And I wasn't sure who has that one. If we could reach out to them, because that's backing up, and that's, it's bad. So thank you.
I will have Chris reach out.
Thank you. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. With that, next meeting will be September 9th, 2024. Next up, let's see, we have a vote to be called as executive session for the following pursuant to ARS 38-431, 1.03, A3 and 4. Discussion and consultation for legal advice with the city attorney, for discussion on consultation with the attorneys on the public body in order to consider its position and instruct its attorney regarding the public body's position regarding contracts that are subject to negotiations relating to the development agreement for Estrella Highlands. Going to get a motion in a second. I see a motion, a second on the board. Can we open it up for discussion? Or, let's vote. Passes 7-0. Where are we going? Back to the, okay. See you all there.